When our guest today, KOO Nadan, was appointed the interim head coach for the women's basketball team Incheon Shinhan Bank S-Birds in July, there were some fans left asking, KOO who, despite having been part of the team's coaching staff since 2019. Curiosities were piqued even more when it was reported that he'd been an online English language instructor for a famous Korean academy in the past as well. But any initial doubts were quickly swept aside with the team's impressive start to the Women's Korean Basketball League this season, especially with his precise and effective directions during timeouts catching the eye. This has led to his nickname 일타강사, or top-tier instructor in Korean. And I'm delighted to say that Coach KOO Nadan joins us now via video call for this week's Touch Basin's Hole. Coach KOO, thank you for making the time to speak to us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you.
First off, I have to say congratulations on a great start to this season. How do you feel in the hot seat?
Oh, I feel like I'm very blessed to have a team and we're doing really well. But, we're just starting up the league right now. So it's only a second round. So I'm not too, too excited about the whole situation. But I'm very happy about the situation that I'm in right now.
Yes, of course. It was a rather unfortunate circumstance under which you were appointed the interim head coach after illness, I believe, forced the previous head coach to step away from the game. But you have taken over the reins admirably. So can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your story? I mentioned that you were an English language instructor in the past, but actually I understand that you have always had a love for basketball ever since you were young, growing up in Canada, and you even had dreams of becoming a professional player.
Right. Like it's a really, really long story. So I know I try to keep it short and everything. But when I first came to Korea, I was about 28, American age, 28. And I came here, trying to take a coach's clinic here. And that coach's clinic, I took that course in order to meet some of the former coaches in Korea and get to know the basketball field in Korea. And until then, I was coaching in Canada also. And I played until college level. And I got into coaching when I was really young. And when I came to Korea, I didn't know anybody. I saved up about $4,000 in order to come here, pay $2,000 for the rent, another 2,000 for my living expenses, and I knew I had to work. So that's when I started having these English teaching career where I had to work in order to go take those courses, right?
Mm.
So that's when I started teaching English in Korea to survive, and that kind of took off a little bit. And my basketball field didn't work out too well in Korea because when I first came, they didn't know about who I was, and I was first person ever coming into Korea as a coach from another country
Mm.
and who speaks both language and also like have a different background. So it was really hard for other coaches to take me in. But my friends and my friends from college, they all offered me a great position in Korea as a teacher. So I took that as a challenge, and I told myself if I can make it in basketball field in Korea, maybe I should just take this challenge and take that career path. And then that kind of took off. I did really well. So, but you know how you mentioned that you talked about online teaching, but I wasn't really online teaching. I was actually lecturing
Mm.
college students
I
and some
see.
business Englishes and all that stuff. And yeah, I did pretty well. I did some articles for 중앙일보 and that, and I did some magazine work and all other stuff. And I even did the G20 summit dinner banquet. I was hosting that as an English part, and I had another person who was doing a Korean part, and I did that. I did all kinds of stuff. You know how you come from another America, and even though your parents are from Korea, you don't
Sure.
know the culture too
Mm.
well, you get to know people, but you need to work to survive. That's how
Hmm.
we learn our
Hmm.
things, right? So that's how I did it. And then it took off. I made, my financially I was doing really well, but I knew myself I wasn't too happy about it. I
Sure.
had to, like it wasn't it. Like I didn't come to Korea just to teach English and make money. So I told myself, and at the time I met my wife, and then I told her, before I got married, and then I told her that like this isn't the life that I really wanted.
Hmm.
So I didn't want to work just to make money. So I told her I want to go back and, I could still be a teacher or, have a career and become a head coach in a high school team or college team or anything like that. So I wanted to take the path where I was able to coach the team. So I went back to Canada after I got married, and I got a call from my former uh, 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 professor, which
Hmm.
he was a former national head coach for a women's basketball team in Korea. He called me up and then he told me that he got a position in Shanghai women's basketball team. It was named Octopus, but he got a position as a head coach, and he called me up and asked me if I were to help him out as an assistant coach. So that's when I took that job, and that's when I started having my coaching career as a professional level.
So you had all these jobs while you're living in Korea just to get you through economically and succeeding as well. But in the back of your mind, you always had that dream of becoming a basketball coach. That was what you came to Korea for in the first place. I would say
Right,
you were quite brave in even making the leap to come to Korea to pursue that dream, and then also giving
right,
up your other jobs that you had at the time to continue
right.
chasing that dream as well. When you finally got that job, then in China, what was that like?
Well, it was really tough. First of all, like being in Korea was tough. Like being in Korea, even though I spoke the language, I knew the culture and food and everything, and it was still hard. But like China was like, if Korea was hard, and China was like, it was toughest moments I had. Like the food was really hard. The culture
Hmm.
was just so different, and the flights. I still remember the flights because you know how China is really big, and you have these away games and home games, and you travel all the time, and the food isn't, you can't really eat food, and you go out and you meet all these different people, and you don't speak the language, and nobody understands English. So it was really tough for me at first. Like first 6 months was just I lost about 20 pounds.
Wow.
First like 6 months, yeah, it's just like food was really hard for me. But
Hmm.
only thing I got there was not just for eating, right? Just for basketball. So I got, I was able to focus more on basketball other than other stuff. So I didn't have any friends, anybody to talk to, but other than that, but I was able to spend time with the team all the time. So that was a good experience. It was tough, but and then it was my first women's team to ever coach. So
Hmm.
I got to understand a lot of like the different aspects of a women's basketball team.
Hmm.
And in China, you get all these WNBA player, which they're the one of the top players in the league in states in
Hmm.
WNBA. So I got to meet them, talk to them, and learn a lot of things about characters and how you're supposed to train women's team and all that stuff. So that kind of helped me to be where I am right now, I guess. So
Sure.
it kind of grew me up to become a coach, better coach, I guess.
And you came out of that experience, and then you came to Korea in 2019. Understand, joining Shinhan. That must have been again another leap for you.
Right, right. Like, and when I was in China, like a, a couple times a year, I would go to this Korean coaches gathering. We'll have like a dinner a couple times a year, like Thanksgiving and to New Year's stuff like that. You get a holiday and you don't really have any friends, and you have all these Korean athletes and Korean head coaches. You get together and eat food, things like that. And that's when I met my current assistant coach. He's one of my best friend right now. I met him. you know, we're same age, so we kind of became really good friends. We talked about basketball all the time.
Mm,
And my former head coach, uh, Coach Zhang, I met him. He was a high school head coach for Shanghai team.
mm,
So I met him there. So that's how I built a relationship with him. And when he got a call from Korea. He called me and my assistant coach to join him. So yeah, I took a leap. It was like a challenge. My wife didn't like it too much. My
oh, how
wife
come?
wanted me to quit. She didn't like me traveling all the time, and I don't get to get home. I have I go home once a month, a couple of
Mm,
times a month. My schedule's really tight. They come to visit me a lot,
sure.
but I have a 4-year-old son.
Mm,
I don't really I can't really spend time with him and all that stuff. Well, my wife wasn't too happy about it, but at the same time, she understands that this opportunity for me
sure.
was big for me to come into Korea,
Mm.
to step into the league in Korea. So I really wanted to do that. So, you know, she kind of gave me a last chance to become a coach in Korea. So I
Well,
took it.
it seems to have worked out. You seem to have settled well in Korea after joining the coaching staff of Incheon Shinhan Bank S-Birds in 2019. You were officially appointed the interim head coach of the team in July 2021. What has that been like leading this team now, essentially having achieved the first step of your dream?
Mm. When I first got a call from my general manager, telling me that I might have to step up to take the position, and I told him, I was like, "Oh, this is too much pressure. Like, you're gonna have all this media talk about, me without any background in Korean professional league, and getting into, the whole situation with other teams. They're gonna talk about me, and he doesn't have experience in Korea. He doesn't know Korean basketball league. Like, I know we're gonna have a lot of trouble with that, with the media and all. But my GM and all my former head coach, obviously, we both had a meeting, and they talked about the team. When I first got into this Incheon Shinhan Bank, our team, they were the last placed in that previous year, and everybody got fired. And when we came in, we changed the team a lot, and we became first year we were fourth in the league, and the second year we were the third. And he said that our system is doing really good. Our team is getting better. We are getting better, and it's gonna be tough to find another head coach and change the whole system.
Mm.
So it was better for our team to take over the whole situation from my perspective, me being an interim head coach. So I thought about it, you know, and I even talked to the team. I talked to the players. What do you guys think about me stepping up into it?
Mm.
you know, would it be too much pressure for you guys? And, might be a little awkward, but they said that all these players, they'd rather have me as a head coach than other people coming in because, we're doing so great. Our systems, working out really well. What's the point of having a different head coach coming in and changing everything?
Mm.
So, all the players trusted in me. So, I took the position, and, it's been working out really well.
Yes, it seems like you've taken the position, the opportunity really with both hands. Your timeout team talks have really caused quite a stir as well. How you seem to hone in exactly what you want and how you clearly deliver that to your players. What do you make of that attention? And do you even think perhaps your time as an English instructor has helped you with all that?
And I know a lot of people been talking about it. I get these questions a lot,
Hmm,
but I never knew I was talking like that until I saw it. Right,
sure.
right. Like, yeah, I don't really think about, like when I'm in the game, I don't think about anything else, just for the basket. Like, I only think about the situation and what's happening on the court. Being an English instructor, I don't know if that helped me a lot, but My perspective of watching a basketball, like as a head coach, I have I have a note, and also in my head, I think about when other teams do something
Mm,
defensively,
mm,
they change up things. In my head, I noted. I get okay.
sure.
In a timeout, I have to tell them this. In a timeout, I gotta talk about this, and I kind of have summarized it in my head
Mm,
before I call a timeout because I already know what's happening in the court. I should be, I should tell them so that they should be aware of what's happening on the court. So I call a timeout and I just talk about it. I don't really think about what I should, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like I don't know how I was talking about, but I guess people really really liked it. And I guess it's different than people who was born in Korea and then,
sure.
they have a different background than I am. So I try to, calm down and, make them relax so I don't really raise my voice too much and just explain what's happening. So
Well, it's been absolutely fascinating to get to know you today. Just very briefly before you go, we're almost out of time. What are your future goals as a coach?
future goals. Everybody wants to win a championship, right?
Mm,
So I guess for our team, our team is working hard, working really hard to, become one of the best teams in the league. And obviously, this year we're doing really well. Hopefully, we could achieve so much goals this year so that we could get into the championship. And getting that ring will be the best thing ever happened to me. And also, as a head coach, you know, I want to be a head coach where all these players who played for me will say, "Oh, he was my best head coach ever," right? So that'll be my ultimate goal to have.
it certainly seems like you've set your ambitions high. We wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season. We've been talking to Coach KOO Nadan, the interim head coach for the Incheon Shinhan Bank S-Birds. Thank you once again for speaking to us today.
All right, thank you very much.